Hey, when bad stuff happens, you better pull up your bootstraps. It's time to stand up. You can't sit around and wait or you'll get run over, right?
Actually, my first day in real estate, sad story, but it was 9/11. I was driving to work when the first plane hit. My first day. My dad was a serial entrepreneur. He had broken English, came to this country, was a cook, opened his first restaurant. It failed, opened up 10 other businesses. They all failed. My dad's story is in his 70s is when his first business.
Okay, awesome. Let's get this thing started. Pammy, why don't you play that little clip for everybody while we're waiting for people to load up here? Tell everybody a little bit about Tina.
I grew up in Michigan, right outside of Detroit. Immigrant parents. Actually, my mother is Italian, my father is Greek, and when I was 5, we packed up and moved to Greece. I went to kindergarten in Greece, and my mom woke up one day and said, I miss the States, so we're going back. So long story short, after high school, I went to college for a couple years and kind of was feeling lost. I met Kevin when I was 16. So our first home that we bought was in our early 20s, and I met a real estate agent, Jill Bomarito. And Jill, after the transaction, kind of hounded me, and she knew I was in college, and we had conversations where I just didn't know where I wanted to be, but I knew I wanted to help people. I'm a fixer, and so when she hounded me about getting my real estate license, I thought, I'm not a salesperson, so that just didn't jive with me. But the more we talked about it and the more I saw what she did for people, I thought, well, maybe that would be fun. So she paid for my license, and my first year in real estate, I just sold a bunch of houses. I think I made $80,000. And so I thought, okay, I can do this. And so I dropped out of college, which my parents were really disappointed, but it took off from there. And so we set a date that we were gonna move to a southern state. And so it was Virginia, North Carolina, or Florida. So we visited all three, and we basically, the minute we drove into Cary, North Carolina, we thought, this is it, this is home. My mantra for sure is, just in life, is do the right thing. I tell everybody, do the right thing for your family life, for your husband, for your kids, for your relationships, for your clients. I'm the one that says, don't take the deal. I think we can do better. It's not coming from a place where what's best for me. I'm not looking at what I'm gonna get paid if this person takes action. It's about how can I really help them achieve what they desire. I'm a fixer. Now I'm in a role where I help agents succeed and also help buyers and sellers. The thing about real estate is anybody can get a license, but you can't become a professional boxer by just saying I'm a boxer, right? It's being in the ring, and it's learning the back and forth. Our agents actually sell a lot of homes. They help a lot of families. So the average agent on my team sells 30 homes, whereas the national average is 4 for any real estate advisor in the country. So it's an honor to kind of stand side by side with them, help them grow, and kind of watch them flourish. We sell real estate at a high level. So if I'm gonna place a $500,000, $1 million asset in the hands of an agent, I want to make sure that they've done this before. Our team is one of the top 5 teams out of 9,000 in the Triangle, and we do that because we get a ton of referral business. And so not only do we have integrity, but we have the experience and the skill. We can position a home to win. We can position a buyer to find off-market properties. What I love doing for people is just, if there's a challenge in front of me, kind of fixing whatever their problem is. For my agents, it's kind of helping them know that there's no limitations. Whatever they want, they can achieve, whether it's financial, family. So I think the biggest thing is kind of being an inspiration for people, because who would have known that this little Greek girl, from Michigan could have moved across country and built a successful business. So if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Boom. Pammy, thank you for playing that. I don't know where Rome, Michigan is at. You'll have to tell me, but I will tell y'all, you're in for a real treat today. We've got a friend here, a fellow mastermind member that I met, a real estate titan. Tina helps real estate agents mainly, if you would, just to sum it up, build profitable businesses. She's a TEDx speaker. She's got over 15,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel. I put the links there in the chat bar so you guys can go and follow her on her YouTube. She puts out really great content. She's got over 27,000 followers on her Instagram, real followers, engaged followers, and she has a great profile there. She's one of the top, I think, like top 3 EXP realty teams in the entire US. And she's got a lot of different accolades, but I think most of all, she's a national speaker. She wants to invest in other people. She wants to help. She wants to improve her industry. She wants to make an impact beyond business. And so she's been so kind to be here today with you all as we spend the next, 45 minutes to an hour together with a top real estate agent, Miss Tina Call. Thanks for being here, Tina.
Well, thank you for the warm welcome. I didn't imagine all that happening. So you're making me blush.
I wanted to do some research on you a little bit. So I didn't know that you were Greek, but I did see that you had grown up in Rome, Michigan. Where the heck is Rome, Michigan at?
So it's not Rome, Michigan. It was Detroit, Michigan. So yeah, I don't know if that was just, me not
probably just my listening skills.
Detroit, Michigan. Yeah. So that's where I grew up and that's where I was born. And yeah, so.
Well, I definitely know where Detroit's at. So
that's right. That's right.
And you got into real estate back in 2009. Was that 2000s or when was it?
2001. Actually, my first day in real estate, fun story, sad story, but it was 9/11. I was driving to work when the first plane hit, my first day, and called my husband and then got to the office. The second plane had hit and the whole office was like a morgue. Everybody's, white. It was definitely not a great first week in real estate. People were pulling out of contracts. It was wild. I was like, what did I do? The world is at war and I'm going into a new career. So it was an interesting day.
Yeah, it always, you meet your fellow friends that got in 2001, 2008, and we kind of, are checking each other out, whether like we're wondering, are they crazy or are they just survivors? Maybe a little bit of both, right?
A little both. Yeah, there's no turning back, but yeah, it was a great, first 7 years, being 23 and starting a new career like that. It was awesome, but 2006 kind of got a little wonky and I had to learn how to do short sales and pivot my entire business then. And of course, then 2008, the rest is history.
So you seem like somebody who's really, really adapted well, and we'll get to social in a little bit because you adapted quickly but like, where did that come from in your life? Have you always been somebody that pivoted real quick and made change or was there a defining moment?
Yeah, I think that, so for me, if you knew me in elementary school, middle school, high school, I struggled as a kid in school because I got bad grades. I didn't love to study. I couldn't focus. I always was the one staring out the window, like I could be doing something else right now. And so school put me in a box and it made me feel stupid. And so when I left school, I went to college for a year and I thought, my God, I'm not going to pay these people to tell me I'm average. I need to get out of here. And so my dad was a serial entrepreneur. He had broken English, came to this country, was a cook, opened his first restaurant. It failed, opened up 10 other businesses. They all failed. My dad's story is in his 70s is when his first business that he started that was successful thrived, literally right before retirement. But, watching him start business after business, it was just very normal to see someone failing forward, pick themselves back up and try again. And so to me, that was just what normal people do. They just start a business, they try. So I think that was just ingrained in our family's culture that you just figure it out. So.
I can so relate to that because I grew up, I think I was sharing with you when we were out in Vegas or at the mastermind that, I'd lost my father early, but I always saw my mom, like she would just always keep working. She'd do something. She didn't have enough money. She'd go pick up a third job. And it was just like, so it just became like, hey, when bad stuff happens, you better pull up your bootstraps. It's time to stand up. You can't sit around and wait or you get run over, right?
Exactly right. That, you're just going to sit around feeling sorry for yourself. So yeah, it's taking action, I think, is also in my DNA. I'm a weirdo. I love to study personality styles. I've done every assessment on myself, my husband, my team. So there is something in some people that they have to move forward or they feel a little bit depressed. And that is what I have. I have that achiever mentality. So if I can't just lay on the couch and wait, I have to move forward. and accomplish something for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year.
Yeah.
Progress. I have progress.
What's your Enneagram?
My Enneagram's a 3-2.
Oh my gosh, you're a 3-2. That's a good combo for a real estate agent.
It's like the achiever helper. So tell me I'm
Yeah.
great and I'll help you.
Yeah.
I
So for
love that.
everybody on the call, like I would like for you to pay attention to what she just said. You know, a majority of people that I've found that I've been around that play at a really, really high level or have achieved some sort of success, like they are masters at understanding not only other people's personalities, but their own. And especially if you get into management and leadership, which is a completely different skill set, it'll really benefit you because you'll know that, hey, that person's not motivated the way that I'm motivated, but it also works in your sales, right? So, you know, it's obviously a pretty integral part of your leadership and your sales and with people, Tina.
Oh my God, it's huge. In fact, I became a working genius success coach, and I went and studied that. That's Pat Lencioni, who's Five Dysfunctions of a Team, created
Yeah.
the assessment. And you know what's nice is everybody has a genius. Everybody has a joy that they love to do. Some people like to poke holes in things. Some people like to just wonder and ask, why is this the way that it is? Others like to have tenacity work and go, hey, Shawn, I can figure that out, and I know the steps. I'll land the plane for you. Like we all need each other, you know, and so we need each other in work. We need each other in family life, but we only have a couple things in our genius that we're great at that bring us joy and fulfillment. When you can figure out what that is, you can look at your job and say, that's why I love doing this and I hate doing this. And when you can differentiate, you can fill the gaps of the things you hate and find people that love it. And there's the rocket fuel that you need to get to the next level. And what we do in real estate, especially real estate, which is awful, is we get licensed and then we're supposed to wear 52 hats and we never spend money on the business. And we're exhausted because we open a restaurant and we're the waitress, we're the hostess, we're the bus girl or bus boy, we're the cook, we're the stock guy, we do it all. And then we never scale. And so it's an industry that is unfortunately allows us to mismanage our careers and never get out of the day-to-day grind. And we're really not entrepreneurs. We just have high-paying jobs that we can't get out of.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll get to where you're at now with your team and your business. Let's go all the way back to that. And let's take that, what you just said, and let me ask you a question. So like, you know, many people in the industry, like they're trying to get another deal, trying to get another client, you know, trying to build some, trying to get, you know, some money in the bank to reinvest back into their business. When you're in that place and you know you need to scale, but you really can't, like, what are some things that you would recommend realtors start doing? Like if they really, really want to start growing their business, but they feel a little stuck?
So I think when you think about the business, you have to think about the income producing activities first. What is going to make me the most amount of money when I start? For me, it's having a listing agent mindset. You have to have some sort of presentation. I worked the first 7 years kind of as an average agent. I sold about 30 homes a year, which in some companies, you're a top agent doing that because the average national is 3 to 4 deals a year. But I was selling 30 homes a year and I couldn't get up above $150,000. I figured out, I coached with this company back in the day, Mike Ferry. I got the listing presentation. I practiced it like I was like some NFL player. Like I would record it. I would listen to the upswings, the downswings. I made sure that I practiced. Then I took that presentation in front of a client. I saw my listing ratio go up. I was taking 8 out of 10 listings. I knew how to call expireds, FSBOs. I built that talent by the presentation skills. Then I took my time and I spent 3 hours a day on the phones every single day. And I even had a coach that I paid $1,000 check to. And if I didn't show up at 7:30 and text him that I was in that seat, then he could cash my check. And so that high level of accountability, the $2,000 a month coaching, plus the 4 checks that he had for $4,000, my best year in real estate, when I started to understand where my value was by talking to people, I made $1 million. And so I would say if agents are starting out, it's what's your presentation? Who are you calling every day and how often? And so we have a 5 for 5 method. If you talk to 5 people a day, if you're starting this, 5 people a day, 5 days a week, it's 5 for 5. So it's 25 people a week, 52 times 52 weeks in the year. You're talking about 1,400 people. If you were to close 10% of those, you'd sell 130 homes, but the average agent's not closing at a 10% ratio. So if you close 3%, you're closing just under 40 homes. At $10,000 a contract, that's $400,000. So
Right.
you have to get into the office and embrace the repetitious boredom of making calls to lead to appointments, to lead to opportunities, to lead to checks. And what agents don't do is they don't become consistent. Therefore, they want a day that sort of happens to them and it's fun. And then they are doing this in their business because getting rich is boring. It's boring every day to come in and do the same thing. And so that's what I embraced. And it became so easy to go get a deal every day because I was staying in that 80% of the time high income producing activity, which was blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And now it's transferred to, do you believe it's transferred a lot to people want to go and they play around on the camera and the social media because they
Oh
see
my
everybody else
God.
do it. So then
Yes.
they neglect,
Yes.
you see it, it's
They
just
want to be
transferred to that.
stars. Yeah, they
Yeah.
want to, and it's fine. I think I have leveraged social media to its finest. But last year, our team sold 900 homes. Of the 900, I would say maybe 4% came from social media, like traceable, trackable social media. And if I had to live on that, I'd probably be very average. It would be a very hard duplicatable system. Just like when agents say, well, I don't buy leads, I'm sphere based. Okay, great. Your sphere is this big. The world is this big. You need to talk to the people over here because your sphere is only so big. And when you're a sphere-based business, I don't know when Sally in my sphere is going to call, but if I call 15 people, I'm going to get a listing. That's $10,000. I can do that every day without it. I can go make 10 grand, and then let Susie and Sally call me in the interim. And now I've got a very versatile business where I'm not one of these agents that, is saying, I don't know where my next deal is coming from. No, I know how to go find it. I know how to teach agents to do that. And, but it's hard because then they have to actually pretend they have a job. They have to come in early in the morning. They have to do activities. They have to treat it like a 9 to 5, sometimes 9 to 8. But if I said to everyone on this call, I'm going to pay you 250 grand, 300, 400, 500, $1 million. And all you have to do is follow this schedule, say these words, go on these appointments every day. And if you miss, you're getting fired. Everyone on this call would be a millionaire.
Right. Correct.
But they don't have that accountability. Therefore, they can just do whatever they want. And we're naturally human. You have parents anymore that say, go clean your room. We don't have to. I don't feel like it, so I won't.
Yeah. I think you could not have answered that question like any better. If I was like, I'm asking this question and here's the answer that I'm hoping to look for, like you nailed it because like, I do think everybody wants the magic wand. They're like, I use this technology or I linked up with this account that refers me. That happens. But when you get down to the bottom line of it, like that foundation, I tell people, I'm like, I'm not that smart. But I grew up on a farm and I do know one thing, the more seeds that you throw out there, the more are going to come sprouting up. And I can't have the sprouts without going and doing the work,
That's
to
right.
plant the seeds. And that's the part that's not fun and not sexy, accountability, that word.
Yes, it's actually so many agents avoid what I do. They will not do it because it's so boring what I do. What I did. I don't do it anymore. What I did was so boring, but it was the most profitable. And all the agents in my network that do what I did, all of them have financial freedom. All of them have multiple rental properties. All of them understand that they can go into the office, make appointments, and get business. We don't care if the market crashes, if it's high, if it's low. We will always find somebody because we're constantly in that groove. Now, if I were to do it different today, Shawn, and I started over in Raleigh, North Carolina, I was a glorified ISA, an inside sales associate, for 3 hours a day, every day of my business as I was growing. Today, I would switch that a little bit and I would say, okay, I'm going to be in the office at 7:30 to 8, I'll role play. 8 to 11, I'm going to be on the phones, but I would hire an ISA to sit next to me, listen to the calls, mimic, mirror, and match me. I would have them be on the phones with me. So when I left the post at 11 o'clock, from 11 to 12, checking emails, 12 to 1 lunch, and 1 to 7 appointments, that ISA for 6 hours a day is making calls. So when I'm out in the field servicing, someone else is still talking to clients so they can load my calendar up. And then what would happen is I would have so many appointments that I would be forced to grow a team because I would have opportunities to give to others, which I could have scaled my business way faster and not been in that belly to belly situation as long as I was, that gave up my freedom, gave up family time, like when you think about balance, people go, I want a balanced life. Well, there's business and family and personal, your own personal self. I always feel like one or two of those are always imbalanced. My business was actually very balanced when I was making $1 million a year. I knew exactly where I needed to be and what I needed to do, but my family life was imbalanced. I was, taken away from phone calls. I had to write offers. We went to the beach while I'm in the house while they're on the beach. It was very much imbalanced in my relationship and my family life. Now it's flipped. My business life is imbalanced. I'm growing EXP. I've got my call group. I've got multiple streams of income, but my family life, so balanced. My husband and I have so much time. I can go to Costa Rica for a month and turn off my phone because I don't have customers. I have partners and they understand when I need a break. So, it's phases of life.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say seasons. It sounds like you just know to tune into your seasons,
Yes.
and you remember the old movie Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And I've always liked NASCAR because like they get going like 200 miles per hour and they get right behind each other within inches. I think
Yeah.
what you just talked about, the analogy is like you got to get behind some other people. You got to get some momentum going. You got to do this blood, sweat, and tears, hard work, and draft right behind that. And then
Yeah.
there's that moment that you go right and you pop out, and that
Yeah.
vacuum takes you forward, and you look up and you're like, wow, it did all work. And have you seen that play out in your life before where, you worked at something, but you didn't work at it long enough and you were almost there if you would have just gone a little bit further? Talk about that.
I think with a lot of things, we sort of, I'm one that I like to build things and see them grow, but I'm in it for the long haul. Like with real estate, when I moved in 2010 to Raleigh, I said, okay, in a decade, I'm going to be here in a decade. And I think a lot of us think in a year or two, we want it now. We want it now. And it's like any millionaire, multimillionaire, or even billionaire that I know and have met, which I've been thankful. Now I know 3 billionaires in my life through EXP. Every single one of those people that are highly successful grew something over multiple decades. There is no overnight success recipe, but social media will make you think with the fancy cars, the nice whatever. Oh my God, that guy, like literally yesterday, he was nobody. And today he has 100,000 followers. He must be rich. And it's so false. It's just so false. So I think that for me, it's the long haul, but I have started ventures that, like I put my heart into it and then I kind of lost focus and then I was doing too many things and then it just failed. And so what I realize is sometimes we do chase those shiny objects, but I got to go back to my core. What is my core business? It's call group. It's call group. It's my business.
Yep.
That's the first baby. The second baby was EXP. Those two I went 100% all in on, and they're growing and they're wonderful. The other ventures, they can't take too much of my time or I'm going to be like, I'm going to not do them well. And so I always have to say, okay, is this bringing me joy? I have to check my gut and say, am I having fun with this? Is it bringing me joy? Then the answer is to keep going. If it doesn't, or it starts to get, boring, I have to really reset and know where I'm spreading myself too thin, because I'm one that'll take on any challenge that I see others doing. I'm like, I could do that.
It is super, super important. I've done that with some of my friends and some of my coworkers and students. Like I do going through an exercise of things that bring you joy. And it's a little silly at first, but when you start writing things down, you really take some intentional time with some coffee in the morning, you're like, you realize there's things in there that you maybe are right there in front of you, but you've forgot them. So like, for example, I love driving in the country with the windows down, and so like I started realizing, I was like, okay, well, you drive into work for 15 minutes on the back roads. Why don't you roll down the windows and blare some tunes, like, and it does, like, things just bring you joy in this industry. Oh my gosh, if you don't have those, like, be prepared because it'll take the life out of you. Where's a moment in your career that you remember, and then we'll start getting into some tactics here, but like, what's a moment in your career that you remember that was one of the darker times that you just did not like what you were doing and you wanted to change something?
I know the moment. So I always say there's pivotal moments in everyone's life shifts. For me, I met my soulmate at 16 years old. We're still together today. So I met my partner early. When I became a mother, and I had Michael at 26. When I met my first coach, Mike Ferry, big shift in my life. He taught me, I was introduced into a world of big thinking agents at the time, which was huge. They were making millions and I was making 100 grand. And then when I joined the firm that I'm at, those were pivotal moments. But the dark time came when it was, I woke up and it was, you made it. You have money in the bank. You have what you prayed for. You prayed for this and you created it. And now what? I'm exhausted. I'm still in the same place that I'm at. I'm not having fun with customers anymore. I don't enjoy going on listings and having dogs sniff my legs and pretending like I like the house when I don't. Like, I lost that joy, and I knew something had to change. And so it was a dark time, but I basically said, okay, fine. What do I need to do? I'm going to put it out on paper. I'm going to earn passive income. I'm going to, invest in, at the time I said, mobile home parks. That was my investment strategy. I'm going to buy rental properties. I just put it out there. I didn't know the exact plan, but I put it out there. I knew I wanted to make $30,000 a month passively to support my family if I wanted to stop working, because it took about 10 grand to cover our expenses. I figured, I was used to making 100,000 a month. So when that happened, I followed that gut check, and then opportunities started to come to me, different opportunities. And those opportunities I was open and in tune to listening to, and I invited them in. And then I said, okay, I've got a new path now. I got something new to build. And it took 5 years for me to build the business that we're in now. And that was because I was burned out and I needed a change. So.
And you did. And so we're going to talk about where you went. I think we all, like, at some point, we will reach that point, but I think all of us have maybe reached some assimilation of it. Right before COVID, I kind of hit that wall, and I had been trying social media and video for a while, and like many of us, I cringed. I was like, my mouth would get dry, my eyes would water.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it, and I didn't feel like I knew how to be my authentic self. And I'd honestly got to a place in the industry a couple of years ago. I was like, people only want to use you. It's like, you try to put your heart into things and you make one mistake and you're done with them. And I just was like, what's next, Lord? Like, what's going on in my life? And I met the crew from Forward where we all met, and I saw people doing video a different way, and it brought me a different purpose. And that's been that was a big pivotal point in my whole career. That was definitely one of them that it shifted, where I was like, I was thinking about what's next. You're going to retire. Go do something else. And I'm like, now I'm in it to win it, because it's so great to be able to reach people. And like, I see that 60 people came here to learn from you. It's like, for me to go out there and talk to 60 people today would be impossible.
Right.
So let's talk about this journey here that you've got. So, you got into the real estate. When did you really feel like the tide was shifting, when you went from like, okay, well, I went from survival phase to thriving phase, and now you're going into legacy phase? When did that surviving to thriving, when did that kind of happen for you?
I think that surviving to thriving. So we were surviving probably, 2009, 10. We got down to $5,000 of net worth, completely like broke, I call that. And that was right around, I would say, 2011, because we came here with $100,000 to our name. We got down to 5 grand. My husband knocked on my office door and he said, we're about a month out of being broke and we're going to have to go back to Michigan. Well, that was the only thing he had to say to me. And I was like, got on the phones and, just started. It took about, I would say, our net worth started to develop when we started to buy residential real estate properties in about 2016. We started to buy one property every quarter. We invested in real estate. I joined the firm that I'm at. We started to build passive income. We started to invest that passive income. And so it was the properties. It was constantly from 2009, investing in our 401ks, putting 10-15% into the stock market. As we started to diversify all the different vehicles, we started to see $1 million net worth, 2 million net worth, 3, so we're probably about 10 million right now, which we're very proud of.
Nice job.
Thank you. Thank you. And so that all happened because we did decide to diversify and stick to the plan. And now it's like everything that I touch, I think, how can I impact more? How can I impact others? I use social media, in the same ways you do now. It's like, we just put out a $97 product and made $15,000 in 1 month, just selling a little $97, product to help real estate agents, because I kept hearing them call me or text me. I watched your YouTube videos. You have this content. I'm like, well, they told me what they wanted. I created it and threw it out there. So that's another stream of income. And in Vegas, I think I showed you, I went from one stream, belly to belly sales, to now almost 12 streams of income, because of that ability to say, where is my time better spent? I have money in the bank, so I can now help others. And I help a lot of real estate agents grow, help them with their social media. It's just fun to make an impact because the money is not the driver. Because somebody
Yeah.
said it in the chat, they said, we
Yeah.
don't talk about, being unhappy when we have the money. And it's
Oh, whoa.
right. Because I have plenty of money.
That's
And
not popular. That's not
not
popular.
popular. Right.
I'll
Right.
tell you, there was a moment. So Tina, I always wanted an Audi R8. That was like the car I wanted forever. So I put it on my vision board. I looked at it, for a while. I saved up enough. We had an equity gain on a property, and I was like, well, I'll use this HELOC, and I'm going to go buy my car, right?
Yeah.
And I'd own that thing, and people would make me feel great driving it and stuff. And I would go on Sunday morning. I got my coffee one morning, got in that car, and I was driving down a backcountry road here about like 7:45 in the morning, just go do my thing. And I was like, I wasn't even happy. And I remember gripping that steering wheel, and I was like, dude, you just had the biggest year of your life. You got the car. Your family's healthy. Like, what is wrong with you?
With you, right?
And like Vern said in the comment, it's like, nobody talks about it, that like when you get there, like it doesn't all of a sudden just somebody flips a switch and like, oh great. It's just a different place and different set of problems. So when do you feel like that defining moment was in your life where you were like, okay, this much money you make or this much money you make, it doesn't change. You get it now, and then the money will come later. What was that defining moment? Was it buying the rentals or was it something else?
I think that, you all like for me, I always had poor man or woman mentality. Like I gotta save, I gotta skimp, I gotta shop at TJ Maxx. That's how I grew up. So I never overspent. That's one thing. Like I think a lot of people, they go crazy once they taste a little bit of money. I only spent money when I knew that I could actually afford it. And one of the rules for me was if I'm going to go out and buy a Porsche, which I did, and I wanted to, if I could afford to go buy two of them in cash, I could afford to buy one. So everything I bought, if I bought a house, if the house was 500,000, could I afford to buy $1 million house? If the answer is yes, I can afford to buy this 500. I always wanted to make sure that anything I was buying, I could afford two of. If I'm buying a $3,000 Louis Vuitton, could I afford to go in today and buy spend $6,000 in this store cash? Most people, if they answer that question honestly, they shouldn't be buying the thing.
Smart.
They
That's
shouldn't be
really
buying.
smart.
And so people stretch and stretch. That means they're always working to survive. And it's like every house we've owned has been beneath our means. Every car. I bought used cars up until I bought the Porsche in 2015 because they're a depreciating asset. I'd rather go buy a house. And so we're always keeping up with the Joneses, and we're never really getting ahead because we want it now. It's the now mentality. So for me, it's like, it's just about having that security. And then once you see your bank account go to $1 million and you start to see assets, and then you go, oh my God, honey, are we good? Are we really rich? I mean, can we say that out loud and let it sink? Like, it's hard to say I'm rich still today, but I am in comparison to so many other Americans. And so again, you have to learn to appreciate what you've built and then take a step back and say, I did it, now what? And I think that's where the unhappiness comes in. Okay, wait, so I got there, now what? Okay, well, what do you enjoy doing? Gardening, golfing? Like, you work so hard to do those things you always dreamt of, and now that you can, you're still not, because a lot of us get gluttonous and then we chase more and more and more money. And it's a gluttony effect, and it's actually kind of sick and disgusting. I actually believe that I chased money for a little longer than I probably should have, because at what point can I spend it now and enjoy it?
There's actually a chart. If you're into personality charts and stuff, but it talks about like up towards the top is your worry, anxiety, arousal, and flow, and down at the bottom is apathy, boredom, relaxation, and control. And it shows that the less that you're challenged or less you're challenging yourself, the more you'll move towards boredom and relaxation. And, that point we just talked about that Vern brought up, you will find yourself at a point, one of my friends that brought me over to cross country, we've shared about this. It's like you get to this point and then it doesn't matter the other factors. If you're not challenged and you're bored, then what will end up happening is you'll go into, apathy and slow down and all of that. So, it's true. We took a little poll here. It looks like we are a little bit more heavy on lender than realtor, but I'm really surprised. We actually have quite a few, about 50-50 here. But I want to ask you some questions that will help the audience here, and the last 20 or 30 minutes, if you're okay with it, because you went from building a standard practice business, the way that people were teaching, and you put in the work and you were very diligent and consistent. But then there was a point that you were like, I'm going to start blazing my own trail. I'm going to go and create a passive income that pays for myself. And then along came social media, like in your life. So what was your first introduction as a realtor to social media? What did you do for a while? Like, where did you start with that? And then let's talk about where you're at now.
So if you look at my social media before let's see, I joined EXP in 2019. If you look at 2017, I was the weird person that had no posts, maybe a post of my dinner. I hated the camera, just like you. It made me nauseous. I felt very uncomfortable, but I knew that in order for people to know that I was able to help them beyond the borders of my small town, I had to do it. And so I just got myself out there. I started to, people will say, Shawn, well, I don't know what to say. Well, I've been recording this literally since we started. This is all content, me talking, me asking questions. If you're a lender or a realtor and you're doing one-on-one appointments with your customers and you don't have a camera in your face, you are missing out on gold. And that's what Shawn does so well, because I've watched you and I know Josh, who does a lot of your stuff. It's authentic, and even if it's now practice and you kind of know, you're just so good at being on camera that you can just make it look like you just said it to a customer, because now you're a seasoned actor, Shawn, and you can do it. But for the ones that just say, oh God, I don't want to look at my face, I don't know what to say, get that darn camera out, hit record, and you will have content for days. And you can take that content, upload it into an AI tool, and have 15, 20 videos in 2 seconds that you can use as YouTube shorts or use on your Instagram. You have content for days, I promise you. And it's probably the best content out there. You're just not capturing it. And so that's what I did. I just became very consistent in having my team record me at meetings. If you look at my YouTube, you're going to cry. Yes, I have 15,000 followers. I posted one video a week. That was a crappy Zoom video with no intro, practically no thumbnails. It's like fuzzy and blurry, but some of my listing videos have like 150,000 views.
Right, I saw that.
Because the content's, I guess, what people like. And so I just threw them out there and it started to go. And here's a huge mistake I made on YouTube. I was very not strategic. YouTube looks at how long people watch your videos. Well, my videos have a 15-minute watch time. That's actually really good, because 5 minutes is what most YouTubers strive for. But I was throwing out 1-hour Zoom videos on my trainings. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so, so if I was actually recording 15-minute videos, I might have had even more. YouTube was picking up my videos organically. And now if you do anything listing, I pop up next to Tom Ferry, which is great. So, so just thinking about, I just did it. I didn't care how it looked. I didn't care, oh my God, it's not perfect. We have a perfection problem and we don't have an action problem. So if we just take action takers are money makers. And so if you just take the action and forget what people think of your dumb videos, your dumb video that's crappy is better than the one that nobody's producing. And so that's the mentality I took. I didn't have time to be a perfectionist. I just needed to get it out there. So I created an audience of agents for free, all for 5 years. Everything I've done, I've never sold one product, which is kind of stupid, but I never did, because I built the trust of my audience. I just naturally wanted to give back to the agent community. And I did for 5 years. And it's blessed me to have now grown. My YouTube channel makes me 20 grand a month. That's amazing. It's amazing. So, and not 20 grand from YouTube commercials or anything like that. It's from the agents that sign on to EXP with me because they found me and they enjoy the coaching. And so now Instagram, I get people from Instagram, from Facebook. So just because I built an audience, when people think of listings or real estate, they now think of me. So when they're struggling and they need help, they go, oh, I'm just going to reach out to Tina. I think she could help me. Now we're creating programs for agents to get coached and trained and help them even at a higher level, because I can't put everything into a company for free. So we're doing little things, but it's because I have my time back. After 5 years, I don't sell homes anymore.
Yeah.
I have an amazing leadership team on Call Group, very profitable, $2 million net business there, and EXP 700 grand a year. it's a business where I'm not involved in the day to day. So I can spend time doing this. I can help agents. Like I've bought my time back.
It's so amazing to be able to sit back and kind of hear like what you've built. And it's easy probably for all of us to just be like, wow, like that you got like a couple of big pillars you've worked on. But I think what I want to make sure everybody holds on to on this call is like, you got to remember how Tina started explaining how she got in this business, what she did, you know, just the consistency behind it, which means that we can all do it. And I think sometimes, Tina, like we see, you know, what an agent like you has built or what a lender's built that's at a high level, but like we automatically just say, oh, well, that's where they're at. And we just reserve to like, I don't know if I can do that. We're not here to do what everybody else is doing, but we definitely want to use each other to inspire us to get to where we need to be. And you said something a second ago that you said it might not have been, it might have been dumb, but no, it wasn't. Because what you did was you gave away stuff for free to help people. And you combined it with things you were passionate about.
Yeah.
And on our mastermind, I don't remember, did you hear it with Neil the other day? He was talking about an offer versus an ask. That's what you did. You offered something to people year after year, after month, and just offered something to people and agents versus asking or selling. And then what happens is people want to come back and they want to work with you and work for you. And that's kind of how that happens, you know?
Well,
And you said perfection problem versus an action problem. That was good. You guys should write that down too, because like she said, and then I'll shut up, but turn the camera on. Like I've had my camera sitting here on my desk on for so many times that there's video that's sitting in a folder that nobody's probably will ever see,
Yeah.
but just get it. And then you can get like Opus One or a VA to break it up for you. And that's the best content you can post.
It is. And somebody gave me great coaching advice, basically. Grant Cardone, we were at a company event, and I was sitting next to him because we were on stage and it was kind of fun. And I said, okay, give me like, literally, I don't know the man, but I was like, give me your advice. Like, what is the best advice you could give anybody? And he said, make sure they know your name. You constantly are building your email list and your name and your name. And if you look at his daughters are becoming phenoms. They're like 14 and 15
They
years
really
old.
are.
So well spoken and just so, you know, out there, love him or hate him, he knows how to market. And so I tell lenders, because I have a lot of lender friends and agents, build those lists. When you're going to do an Instagram post or a YouTube post or whatever, use a ManyChat automation. And when you give information, make sure that you're capturing the email of your audience. Yes, I'll give you these 5 lending tips, Mr. Lender, but here's the link and put in your email address. Shawn did it perfectly, right? You did a webinar. You're capturing people's names and audience. You got to build the audience, and then the audience will tell you what they want. And then you can have value and sell to an audience, but you're selling when you know what they need and want. And it's okay to sell. That's another thing I had to get over. It's okay to sell your value. I sold to buyers and sellers and made millions of dollars. I believed in my value when I sat with a FSBO or an expired or a seller. I believed in my 6%, sometimes 7%. And I believe in my value if I'm going to sell coaching or whatever I'm going to do now, because I've walked the walk. And so, so that's it. You're building trust. You're building your email list, buyers and sellers and agents or lenders or whatever, whoever your list is. And then you're listening to the audience. What do people ask you for? If you're the got-a-minute guy or girl in your office, you have value. You are not monetizing this because you don't know how, but if everyone's stopping at your office to ask you, hey, Shawn, you got a minute? You got a minute? Those got a minutes can be paid for.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did a survey real quick to ask everybody on the call, if you guys will click that just to kind of know what you're more on. I was shocked, you know, that there's nobody yet has clicked YouTube. But I'm not shocked because you said a second ago about like posting the long, like live videos on your YouTube, and that's why it grew. I did the opposite. I would put like a 7-minute video on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And then I'd go over to YouTube and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, you know, record this weird video that's 30 seconds long and I'm done. But I've really poured into YouTube over the last 12 months, and I'm starting to really see the fruits of that labor, because that's where people can come to receive free information, and then they turn around and that's when the magic happens, you know? What do you find is, as a real estate agent, is more valuable to you? Is it Instagram, is it Facebook, or is it YouTube? If you could only pick one.
If I could only pick one, Well, that's so hard. It would be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Did you master one at a time, or were you like the rest of us that we just dive in and we're like, we're going to try all of it?
I didn't, I was first on Facebook, so that I was always very masterful because that's when we all started. I'm 45. Then I went to Instagram and I got pretty good at that and grew that. And then about 2 years ago, I started YouTube and I just kind of self-taught. I didn't have anybody help me. I wanted to understand it and then got consistent with YouTube. I've fallen off of YouTube a little bit. I'm getting back now. I'm doing a lot of shorts and a lot of interviews, but it's hard. It is hard to do them all. It really is. But I think YouTube is probably my favorite from a reach perspective, from a building relationship perspective. They are having a parasocial relationship with me for a very long time. So in their eyes, like people call me and I'm like, oh my God, it's really you. I'm like, just a realtor from Raleigh, but yes, it's me. So they're just enamored with you because they're listening to you in their car, they're listening to you at home, their kids are listening to the videos. So it becomes like they know you. And I think on Instagram, we don't have videos long enough, but we do follow people and we can watch their stories. But I just think YouTube's a little bit more personal. And I think it's a blue ocean. It's a blue ocean right now.
You just said something. You said know you. And I think that that's profound because like that's one of the powers of putting up your digital social media is that you're being seen before you're heard. So when you do get an introduction, you just have a competitive advantage.
Right.
And a lot of people I talk to, they struggle with like letting their audience really know who they are, either how to deliver it or they just are shy around it.
Right.
I notice you don't share a lot about like your personal life on your socials. I saw a few pictures of your family. So talk about that a little bit.
I just feel like sometimes you have to hold things back a little bit and not give it all away. I've followed people where they're like literally brushing their teeth and doing their hair and they're in their robe. And I'm like, there's no allure left. Like where, they're showing you every little bit of their house. Once you've seen it all, it's like there's nothing left. So I feel like for me, there's a piece of my life that I want to hold back. I like to keep people, curious about the day-to-day, but give them just enough. But I'm business focused. Like my life is my life. I'm not going to take you into the bathroom with me. Like some people are like, that camera goes with them everywhere. I also am pretty private. I don't like being on social media, to be honest. It's a necessary evil. I don't love it. It's not like, oh my God, it's amazing. I don't like speaking on stages. I don't thrive on that. Yeah, I really don't like to speak. However, it's a necessary thing if you're going to help others. So you just have to do some of the pieces of your job that you don't like. I love one-on-ones. I actually love speaking in little groups like this. This brings me joy and energy. One-on-one coaching does, and that's just my truth. But others would rather just be rah-rah on stage, and they want people to see them. And I don't need that. I just want to be impacted where behind the scenes, someone's saying, she really helped me. Like that brings me more joy.
Let's talk about what the lenders and the realtors on the call could do to maybe like take away from this call something that is valuable. So I guess what I mean by this is if I'm a lender, there's lenders on the call and I'm trying to build a business and there's a top producing realtor in my market. Let's say that you were still selling and buying and you were boots on the ground. Like in today's market, like what are some things that you think, let's start with lenders. What should lenders be doing more of to really get the attention of an agent? Maybe that's something that stands out versus the normal stuff.
So if I put my lender hat on, which I've done this a lot, I actually have brought a bunch of lenders to my office and sat them all down and said, hey, how many agents do you actually work with? And the answer is about 4 to 5 that give them a lot of business. And I'll say to the lenders, if I could take those agents and triple their business and triple their sales, would that help you? And they're like, yeah, how do you do that? Bring them to masterminds. So lenders, you have to think of, I'm a real estate coach that happens to do deals. That's who I am. I'm a real estate coach that happens to do deals. When you go in to meet agents, you better not tell them about your company and all the things that your company does and how you close loans fast. We've heard it before. Of course, you better close loans fast. Of course, you better give great service. Of course, you better have all the loan products to close the deals. We get that. But I want to know, like, teach me DISC, teach me Working Genius, teach me something different that's going to bring value to my team and make me feel like I want to work with you. Because every time Shawn opens his mouth, there's something of value. So be motivational and become a real estate coach that that understands how to do loans. The other thing is find agents that are in network marketing companies now, like in businesses like mine. If you were to do business with me and bring me agents, I'm going to teach those agents, I'm going to help them grow. So you don't have to like have 4 agents anymore. You could work with a bunch of different agents as long as you make connections between agents and agents that are with companies that have monetary benefits, I guess. Like if you were to bring agents to me, of course I'm going to help that agent grow, which in turn helps your business. So look for in your towns agents that are with EXP and Real and different, you know, LPT, Canzel, Epic. There's like 10 different cloud-based companies now that are all, you know, coming into this space. So look for those agents that are with those communities, because you're gonna, if you tap into one, you could be tapping into 1,500. Like I have 1,500 agents in my downline. When we have a company event, like we're doing a 400 agent ball, the two lender sponsors are going to get to have 400 eyeballs, right? Not just one agent, one team, or 2 agents. You're tapping into networks now. Network TV, network television, networks are big, radio network. So think about now finding agents with networks, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're going to get
and be the connector.
and be the connector. So
Maybe you're not necessarily trying to recruit, but I know with loan officers, lots of times somebody will be like, "Hey, there's this loan officer I know. You should meet him." I'm like, "I want to meet him." You know,
yes,
make the
absolutely.
introduction, and
Absolutely.
he might come work here, he might not. But
Be a connector. Yeah.
what about doing things like this? Like say that the agents on the call or the lenders on the call that work with agents don't recruit and have downline. They're just solopreneurs right now. What about
Right.
doing something like this, like a Zoom call, recording it with
Absolutely.
them, you know, and then sending
Absolutely.
them some content?
Bring them value. You know, you be the connector. If I'm a lender and I know there's an awesome real estate agent that's a coach, I'm going to ask them to come on, especially though, if you got to find people that are incentivized by growing their audiences. So you find a real estate agent that happens to have a coaching company or they're selling something, as long as they're not creepy and gross, bring them onto the call, bring value to those agents. Now you've just connected that agent with potential income sources, but you've brought value to your audience. It's just about bringing value to your audience where they go, man, every time I'm around Shawn, I'm learning something. I like that guy. You know, like that's what agents we want from our lenders.
That's why I got to watch a lot of videos and look at books with pictures, Tina, to come up with these ideas. And then I put them in my notepad and I share them and make them mine.
That's
So
right. That's right.
Austin, we got a couple of people raise their hand. Austin Hines, what you got, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? How are y'all?
What's up,
Good.
Austin?
Hey, so yeah, so I know Shawn pretty well. Shawn and I have worked together in the Nashville market quite a bit. This is my first time really getting to know you, Tina, but so far it's been really exciting to hear you and just you know, hear more about what it is that you're doing. I'm really curious as I'm scrolling through your YouTube page. I see that you've created a lot of really awesome content for realtors and stuff like that. I'm curious. I'm kind of thinking this through in my head. One of the biggest people that we kind of go after at the moment are like new agents who are looking for education on the lending side of it. I'm curious, like, is there a world where the content that you're creating, is there like a partnership where maybe we can bring newer agents that we have into something like what it is that you are currently doing as far as your training stuff goes?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's the beautiful thing about where we are now in the industry. It's allowed me to become middle management. So if you think of Remax or Keller Williams or all these independently owned franchises, if I owned a Remax with 80 agents, you're only getting an audience of 80. If I now have a network with 1,500 people and the network even above me has 12,000 agents, it's remarkable how much more you can get now if you get those agents in front of somebody, let's say like me, that can teach them. You're bringing them value, and then you're the hero, and then you keep kind of pouring into them. And then your job is to help that agent make a great decision on a company that's going to double, triple, or quadruple their business. When I came to EXP, I was stuck at 75 million. Why? Nobody was sharing. I had to go hire a coach. That coach really wasn't, you know, boots around building teams. So there was a level of I couldn't get ahead. And then I joined the firm and we were in this mastermind group. I went to 135 million, 225, 300. We were at 400 million in volume last year because the agents exchanged like crazy. Why? they're all incentivized to help each other. So it is a beautiful community if you understand it and you trust it, and you as the lender are showing up and you go, wow, this is better for my agents, and you lead them to that, they're going to thank you. And then you become now the lender of choice for hundreds of agents. So you're not just looking for a team anymore, you're looking for networks. Like as a lender, I can't encourage you more. Atlantic Bay Mortgage has me speaking to all of their agents at the company because at their events, because they're like, guys, we have to go and find these agents that have networks so we can get in front of them and grow faster. So it's a little different mindset of chasing the individual agent or the team agent. You're looking for agents with networks.
Okay, that's really, really good. Stephen asked a good question, and I've wondered this one too. If you were to do it again, would you name your real estate company the Call Group, or would you go back and change it?
You know, I named it the Call Group specifically because everybody at the time was naming it their name, the Marty Hampton Group, the Linda Craft Group. So I actually was forward thinking enough 15 years ago to go, I know I won't want to be the front person. Maybe. I think I do like it because it's my legacy and my story. So I'll always have a hand in it. When you think of the agency and other companies, there's always a founder story. Maybe I would have changed the name, but I kind of love that the story stays with us and the legacy of what we teach. Our foundational teaching, I teach it at our company. That's just who we are. And we're very successful. And so the agents liken that. So I think I'm still okay with the decision.
I think you explained that eloquently. I mean, when there's a purpose and a cause and something you build around a name, I think that's more important than actually it just being a name, and you've created a community and people want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So,
and I joke with my agents, I tell them it's not even my name on the door, it's my husband's, and he doesn't even work here. Like we all got gypped. So
that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
So what are you working on right now? What's big, that you're working on that you're excited about in 2024?
Well, we just bought a house in Costa Rica that we're building. So that's going to be our, we're going to build, like, that'll be my house to get away and build courses and do other fun things and coaching and stuff like that. But we still have our group. We have a goal to sell 1,000 homes this year. Our leadership team's grown. We have 55 agents, I think. We probably will get to about 75. We're not going to get bigger. I know people are like, oh, where are you going to get? I don't want to be bigger. I just want to be badder, meaning our agents we have a goal for them to make $100,000 on our team. I have agents on 50-50 splits that make 500 grand, 400 grand, 300 grand. So my goal is for our people to make a lot more money individually and have really unreal lives. So, and just keep that 1,000, going.
I love it. What are you reading right now? Is there a book you're reading? I heard you talk about Lincoln. I'm reading Death by Meeting.
Oh my God, Death by Meeting. I love The Self-Aware Leader. I think is huge. I'm reading a lot of books, which I don't know the titles right now, but I'm reading a lot of books. Like there's one actually it's by Ramit Sethi, I'll Teach You to Be Rich. I think there's a really unfortunate thing where people are not good with their money. And I'll Teach You to Be Rich is about not only the basics of how you should structure your money, but the richness in life. Like when we do make enough, like what should we spend it on? Why are we working so hard? So it combines the beauty of life and why we should spend the money on the things that we actually love and where we should pull back. So I'm reading a lot about freedom, money, investments, and just enjoying life a little bit more.
Who's one person in that all realtors should probably follow that you glean a lot from?
Oh my God, there's so many. One person that I love in real estate. Oh my God. I mean, I love.
It doesn't have to be real estate, just somebody that realtors should, be tuning into right now that you just love.
I love an agent. Her name is Anna Powell. She's fantastic. She doesn't have huge social media, but she's one of the smartest builders I know. I brought that girl in. She was a $18 million a year producer, solo agent. She grew a team to 25. They're going to do 250 deals within a year and a half. And I've never met anyone with more beautiful brain that can take information and implement it faster than her. She does some coaching and training, but she's a free spirit. Well, everything she gives away is free. And she has free training every Wednesdays at 8:30 a.m. Anna Powell from Fuquay, North Carolina. Very inspiring. So it's not just about having the glory of all the followers. It's about people making impact to me. So I love giving those leaders the stage, and She's amazing.
Tina, you are friggin' awesome. I didn't expect the 60 minutes to go this fast. I wish we could have stayed, for another 30, 45 minutes. I wanted to really, talk to you about some things I don't think that everybody just, always ask about as a top producing realtor. And, I really appreciate you coming out and being willing to invest in these folks. And I know you're a lot like me where, if I have an opportunity, I see it, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to step into it. And you don't know what's going to come out of it. But folks, if you will, we will, in the follow-up episode, we'll make sure to put all her contact info, all her sites, but up at the top, I went ahead and put her links in the beginning. If you want to follow her, I would definitely follow the Instagram and the YouTube. And we are super honored that you came to be with us here today, Tina.
Thank you, Shawn. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. If you need anything, just reach out.
Thanks again. I really appreciate you. Y'all vote on the poll. We will go ahead and continue to grow Content Creator University. Continue to bring great people on here. I want to know a little bit more about what you want. So thank you for taking that poll before we sign off here. And I hope you all have a good rest of the week and see you in 2 weeks. Thanks again, Tina, for coming to join us.
Thank you, Tina.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thank you, Shawn.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.